Hey everybody, welcome back to Between the Distance. This is podcast number 2. It's aluminum, not aluminium.
That's just factually inaccurate.
So, in today's podcast, we're going to talk about the differences between our countries and like what it's been like for me a little bit to adjust because you've never been to America and you'll understand when we get there. So, just how different it is. So,
Listen,
it is. I like I know that when we went to France, the road was on the right side, which was perfect for me. Yeah,
see, I don't know, that's something that didn't really trip me out that much.
yeah,
I don't know if it's because I've been to France before, but even then it was years ago.
yeah,
But for some reason, the side of the road isn't. I guess as someone who doesn't drive, it's not something I pay very close attention to,
mhm,
especially since here we have a lot of roads that are just sort of single lane.
yeah.
So if you've got two people coming from opposite directions, someone just kind of has to pull off to the side.
I mean, we have, um, yeah, we have like multiple lanes for
Mm,
different things. You know, even something as simple as a highway. Like if you're going through like a neighborhood or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, it's just 2 lanes. But yeah, for like highways, interstates, stuff like that. Yeah, it's multiple lanes.
well, you've seen our motorways. We have multiple lanes there, but for neighbourhoods here, it's not even double lane. It's single lane, literally like just outside that window.
Yeah, I'm just opening our nice little Twitch dashboard.
Right, making sure everything's working.
Yeah, just gotta double check and like making sure that because I see your green little thing going up and down when I talk sometimes. So
Mm.
try not to be like super loud because like last week I was super loud. I couldn't hear you. Like I couldn't hear me on your side. So
But yeah, on the video, it doesn't seem to come through.
yeah.
Um,
So if
there is
anybody can like
some,
double hear me, just leave us like a little note so that we know
yeah,
if you
yeah,
can double hear me because I see your little mic thing going up and
yeah.
down, which is so weird because last week it didn't do that.
Literally nothing's changed about the setup either. I can look into like noise cancellation stuff. It's just yeah,
Yeah,
I don't get much time to prepare since the podcast's a Friday and I'm working during the week.
yeah.
So
But anyway, we're gonna talk about the differences. So we're gonna start with transportation
mm-hmm.
modes. So
Modes of transportation.
we all drive in America. It's almost like a rite of passage kind of
Mm,
thing where it's like, Mom, Dad, I want to drive. And then at 15, 16, they'll start putting you up for your permit and stuff like that. And, you know, by the time that you turn 16, you'll get a driver's license.
yeah.
I I didn't start learning to drive until I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then well, I was just about to turn 17, I think. Let me think. Yeah, I was just about to turn 17 because I told my mom asked me what I wanted for my birthday and I said I wanted to get my driver's license. So, um yeah, I went to driving school. I got my driver's license when I was 17 and been driving ever since. It's very odd for me to not drive
Mm,
considering I'm here and I go so long without driving.
yeah.
But like the moment I get back into America, I just get in a car and I'm like, I'm good to go. Like,
See, you can get a license at 16 here,
mhm,
but I believe it's just your provisional.
yeah,
So you have to have another qualified driver in the car and all that jazz.
yeah,
Um, and I think the big problem, like when we go to London, for example, you're gonna see a lot more people driving. There's gonna be cars everywhere, but the problem is then there's congestion.
yeah,
So, like, yeah, there's a load of people driving, be sat in traffic, so you kind of don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
And aside from congestion, because we do have slightly smaller roads, what you're gonna actually, well, what you actually have to take into account is the fact that we have like a much stronger public transport system than almost anywhere in America could compete with.
Yeah.
Maybe like New York, where like their subways can kind of compete,
Mhm.
but that's one city.
Yeah.
Um, well, actually, no, can't you get like a train from New York to like New Jersey?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that in that sort of area, but like you can get a train from Liverpool to London. You might just switch a couple of times, but it's not like you have to go across the city to switch to a new train station or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, and then obviously buses, as you've seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we do get buses. Like we get the local bus, you know, and then we get this thing called the Greyhound.
Hmm.
So it's almost like coaches. Like you can buy a ticket to wherever you want to go in the U.S.
Yeah.
And yeah, but here you go get on a coach and you can go anywhere in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You just, I mean, like you can start on this nice little tiny island and
Yeah.
drive all the way to the mainland. That's so weird to me. But um, I had never rode a train until I'd got here.
Yeah.
And then we rode the train that we were out and about. We're like, just whatever, we're gonna go. We're gonna go ride the train because I want to ride
Well,
the
we were
train.
eating across the street from the train station,
Yeah,
and we were sat at the window, so we could literally see it.
yeah,
So it was like, okay, pull your phone out. When's the next train?
yeah. Cause like it's not like we were in any rush,
Yeah.
and the train station that we were at literally just services Liverpool,
Mm.
Merseyside kind of thing. So it was like if you missed a train, just wait 30 minutes, you'll get another one. It's
Yeah.
fine. So um, I I had rode a coach, but it wasn't like to go on vacation or go to like another city.
Mm-hmm.
It was like if I was with band or something and we had like a
Right.
competition,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So we did ride the coach,
Mm.
but our greyhounds are not as nice as coaches are. Like the only thing I don't like about coaches here is that like you're basically sitting in your past and the next person's lap because it's so small. It's like the seats are built for like a toddler.
Here,
Yeah, here.
there are nicer coaches.
Mhm.
It's just again like it's when you're looking at like value.
Yeah.
Like our coaches, rather than buses, are pretty equivalent to your greyhounds because
Yeah.
you use them to go city between city, and city between city in the UK might as well be like state between state in America. Not with size, but the fact that once you leave the major city aside from the surrounding towns, there's almost nothing until you get to like the outskirts of the next city,
Yeah.
especially if you're going on motorways. With the amount of times you've been on a UK motorway now, you know as soon as you hit the motorway, it's just green fields and trees.
I like being a passenger in the car,
Mm.
like with a safe driver.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like on a coach. I like being on the motorway as a
Mm-hmm.
passenger. The first time I ever drove here, oh my god, can you remember
Mm-hmm.
that? I was
I
terrified.
remember because the entire way I was often to like reassure you that we weren't gonna die.
Terrified.
Yeah.
Because everything, like, when you're in America and you're driving, all the signs are simple. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like simple to the point. Like, no way you can mess that up. Even though most people mess up a yield sign, I don't know how that
Mm.
happens, but whatever. Um, Here, there are traffic lights in the middle of roundabouts, and that tripped me out.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to encounter that on the motorway. I feel like
We did though when we left Somerset. And right before we got on the motorway, like when we needed to get like the entrance to the motorway, we went on that roundabout. There was one stopped in the middle, and we had to stop at it.
That's not part of the
No,
motorway
it's
though.
not part of the motorway, but driving on the motorway itself was fine because I could just stay in the slow lane if I wanted to, and there were so many like stops,
Mm,
on the side. So if I was starting to feel a little too nervous, a little too anxious, whatever, we just stop, whatever.
yeah.
But driving in the inner city, oh my god, I almost crashed us straight up, like because it was so confusing.
I'm surprised what you commented on though was the roundabout to go onto the motorway and not the double roundabout that we had to deal with that time coming back from the hospital appointment. Yeah, you leave the roundabout into another roundabout.
At that point, I was just ready to go. I was like, if this is it, if this is how I go out.
See, the worst part is I wasn't familiar with that road because obviously it wasn't a local hospital. Um,
Yeah.
and we took the wrong exit, and it brought us to a like random off road. And I remember saying to you, "Look, we'll just take the long way." And it turned out the only way to get back to where we were going was through the double
Oh
roundabout.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I was dying on the inside. And I remember when we got the car, we took little trips
Mm-hmm.
like into town to just try to get me a little bit used to it, being on the
When we
op.
got the second car,
Yeah, when we
that
got the
that was a
second. Oh
whole
my
thing.
gosh, that thing. They both were
Yeah.
just crap. But anyway, we take a few trips into town to just kind of get me used to it because from Somerset to Liverpool is like 4 hours.
Yeah.
But depending on, how you drive, it could be like 5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
considering that's what we were looking at, was more like 5 hours because I was like, I'm gonna drive dead slow. And even out there made it a little like made me a little bit more anxious because Somerset's in the middle of nowhere and the road's like this big. So, you
Yeah.
get those people that whiz around and nobody's like paying attention and I'm like, I'm going to kill us. I like we're going to go to the like
That one long road where like the two sides of it had sunk down, so
Yeah.
you were constantly on a domed road,
Yeah.
and the big delivery lorries would come down it. So you'd literally like you'd be driving towards each other head on,
All I
and you'd have to
had
drive into the gutter, and then your car's sitting sideways.
all I had hope for at that point was like don't unalive us because the internet's
Yeah.
weird about don't unalive us and don't get a ticket.
Mm,
Because then I would have to submit that ticket.
yeah. As part of the
And
visa
yeah, and they'd
process.
be like, why did you get a ticket in the UK? And I'm just like, because I was absolutely terrified. And I
That was
tried.
not the moment though that I was concerned about us getting a ticket. I just had a very vivid PTSD flashback of when we were driving and all the gauges on the dash just went, yeah. And then we were relying to find out how fast we were going versus the speed limit on the like Google
GPS.
Maps,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like one to one. Like it wouldn't update every second. So it'd suddenly go like, okay, you're going 30, and then it'd suddenly go, you're going 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we were driving down the motorway and that happened, I knew that the motorway was 70. So I stuck at like 65.
Yeah.
Stuck at 65. It's like, can't pull me over if I'm going below the speed limit, unless it's like a dangerously low level when you're like driving 20 miles an hour down the
Well,
motorway.
the dash was working the whole time back. It was
No, it
like,
didn't. It went out that one time, and we pulled over. Remember, we like it had gone out. I had seen it go out, and then it came up this error of like acceleration something.
yeah.
So we pulled in, and I was like, well, it didn't drive funky or anything, so maybe it was just an electrical problem. So we'll keep going. But yeah, it just kept going on and going on and going on. And then we lost lights. We
Mm.
lost like one light, and then that light started working again, and then we lost a backlight, and then that backlight started working again. And I was just like, just come
Do you
get
think we
this
can
thing.
give like an anti shout out for the company that sold us the car, or do you think that's opening ourselves up to like slander
I'm
allegations?
good. Just
So you want me
hopefully.
to name and shame? Because I remember the name.
I remember the name
Yeah.
too, but we'll just leave it. Whatever. Hopefully that human is not in business anymore, but
Now that sounds like another way to say you're alive. Hopefully,
that is not what
hopefully
I
that
mean.
human is no longer in business.
Maybe that should be the new way that we say on a
Yeah.
live that humans no longer in business.
uh,
Oh gosh. But yeah,
just don't buy a car from Birmingham.
yeah, just don't do it. Uh
Yeah.
don't buy a used car like from those old rinky dink used car lots.
Mm.
Like if you go to a dealership where they've like tested it and everything's
Well,
like you
these were
got a
like on the
warranty.
AA website, like the AA
Yeah,
dealer lots and
that was
everything.
like the weird thing is when they were like, "Oh, an AA like certified
Yeah.
dealer." I'm like, "Okay, this should be good." And then we got like the little breakdown membership for free for
Hmm.
like I think it was like 6 months or something.
Yeah, like basic breakdown cover.
Mhm. Excuse me with my coffee. I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good mug.
Take a sip
Always.
of this.
But yeah, um that was the most terrifying thing in my life was having to learn how to drive on the left-hand side of the road with a whole bunch of different signs. Um lights like lights are in so many places here. I
Yeah.
mean, they're freaking everywhere. Like when you come to a stop, for us, if you come to a four-way stop, there's four sets of lights. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's a light here, light there, light across, and light here. There's a light here. There's a light here. There's a light turning. There's a light there and a light over there. And it's like, where do I look? And then I remember when I was talking to Matt, because I was sitting there watching YouTube videos, trying to read stuff, like even downloaded
Yeah.
some apps. And I'm like, Matt, where do I look? Because I ride in a taxi and I see all these lights and I'm like, which one is mine? And he was like, oh, they have shutters, like the little shutters. So if you can't see the actual light, then it's not your light. And I'm like, but I can see I can see the light right
I
there.
think that only applies to some very specific traffic lights.
It's just so strange.
Otherwise, a green light basically means you're keeping on going the way that you're going. The alternative is if, like, there is, where, like, so it'll have 3 lanes, but as you get up to the intersection, the third lane will sort of turn to the right a little bit,
Yeah.
and it'll have its own sort of like guard pavement
Yeah.
piece, and then that traffic light will not only just have the green, it'll have an arrow that
Arrow.
points in that
See,
direction.
we still have that same concept. So we'll have like except, for us everything is backwards. So where you guys would turn right, of course that light would be there. For us when we turn left, the light's there for that one.
Right.
But so it's like lane, lane, and then the turning lane.
Yeah.
So then you get if it's a full green arrow, or sorry, a full green light, it's usually a yield kind of to oncoming traffic. They've now started changing it where it'll change to like a flashing orange or yellow arrow, and that'll be yield to oncoming traffic. If it's an arrow green, you're good to go. For us, also, like how you guys turn left, y'all still have a light for turning left, so you'll see people stopped waiting
Yeah.
for the arrow for waiting for it to turn. We don't do that when we turn right. We yield. So if we come to a right and we're at a light and the light is red and you're about to turn right, if there's any oncoming traffic, you will yield to that oncoming traffic. If you look and see that there's nobody coming, nobody's turning, you can go. As long
What
as you
even
come
if it's
to a
red?
Even if it's red, as long as you come to a complete stop, you have to come to a complete stop
And
and then
then
go.
go.
Yeah. You can't
See,
just go.
here, the red doesn't just mean come to a complete stop.
It means
You,
wait.
yeah, you have to
We don't
wait.
have to wait. As long as
Because
nobody's coming. You've
as you've
yielded.
seen, we have so many traffic cameras
Yeah. Oh my
across
god.
so many parts of the UK. So the moment you do something wrong, it
Yeah.
takes a picture.
Yeah. I feel like I go to the bathroom and CCTV knows where I am. Cuz you see them in the pavement, like the sidewalks, the little box where they can like come with a key and unlock it, and on
Mm,
top of it little in metal stamps is CCTV.
yeah.
They're everywhere. It's like aliens, man. They're everywhere. But yeah,
When you've
so
got a smaller country, it's much easier to see everything that's going on. Um, and there's no rules around privacy in a public setting. Um, and then on any private setting, you don't have to consent to be filmed. Obviously, you can just be filmed.
but even
So,
in like even though there is no like thing against private, and there is, or there is a thing against private, not really a thing against public.
mhm.
They put CCTV on public streets outside of neighborhoods. So you have a pole sitting right there with a camera on it pointed down at the street, and you can see into the neighbor's window who has their window wide open and their blinds open. So technically you can still see into somebody's house.
The way that they would just see that is if you didn't want the inside of your house to be on the camera, you would close your blinds.
Yeah, but then it gets really hot and nobody has air conditioning.
Yeah,
So, what was our next subject that we were going to talk about that's different?
very professionally, I will bring up the
I think
list.
we need to touch on a very important subject before we do the next one.
Hmm?
Air conditioning. Air.
But you can, in industrial settings, it's very common. It's just window units, and it's because our windows are not the whole lift up.
Yeah.
Because to
The
us,
out.
those kind of windows are very outdated. They don't get as good a seal as almost any other kind of window,
Hmm.
and insulation's really important in the UK.
But I mean, just like air conditioning, period. Here, you don't have houses that have air conditioning. I mean, like, that's the standard. No air conditioning.
I think if you were to get a new build, but not a new build built in like a traditional suburb, if it's a new build like mid-tier to luxury home, it's gonna probably have something like that.
Yeah, it's
It'll
considered a
probably also
luxury
have
home to have air conditioning.
underfloor heating and things like
Yeah.
that.
But like the heating system is a normal thing too, like what your mom had, where the heat distribution kind of thing from like the kitchen or
Oh, that's
radiators.
not what I meant. I mean the underfloor
Yeah, I
board
know.
heating for heated
I know.
floors.
I know
Yeah,
what you meant by that. But I mean like without people who don't have the heated like underfloors, you get the heat distribution thing, and then you get the radiators.
yeah.
And then like the radiators are the main source of like heating here,
Mm,
which for us is not. Air conditioner and heating come together,
yeah.
like it's
Key
together.
to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they come from the vents like up, most of the when you see a normal house, like a normal built house
Hmm.
with a foundation and stuff, they're usually from like the ceiling. If you have like a mobile home trailer, whatever you want to call it, you'll see them around the floor.
Yeah.
But yeah, before I got here, I ordered an air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no, I can't live without it. I can't do it. Like that is one luxury in my life that I will not give up. Not give up air
See,
conditioning.
in the UK though, we just traditionally haven't had extreme temperatures.
How do you feel now?
It's global warming.
After last summer, last oh last summer was so hot, and we went to Paris on the hottest day. But
Yeah.
even like your mom was texting us going, we have to sleep downstairs because it's so hot upstairs.
Mm,
So,
I
but
think it was 1 or 2 degrees hotter in Paris at the time than
yeah,
it was in the UK though.
at least we had an air
With
conditioner
air
in our
conditioning.
hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
And then we had the pool
Mm,
downstairs. So Yeah, we went out and saw the Eiffel Tower, but we were only out for like 3 hours.
Yeah, but it was on
That was
the
mostly
hottest
traffic.
day at the peak of the sun.
Yeah. But we didn't even really spend that much time at the Eiffel Tower. We spent most of it in traffic.
I feel like we were sat on the grass next to it for about an hour,
Mhm.
and considering there's nothing to do there, that's a long time to just be sat there.
I can honestly say I was thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah,
Like when cuz a lot of Americans don't go anywhere. They don't go anywhere. They When they decide to go somewhere for vacation, it's somewhere within the United States because it's so massive. There's plenty of places
yeah,
to go. But when we see Paris, we see like the big green grass right in front of the Eiffel Tower, just this beautiful like Eiffel Tower sculpture looking just like, "Oh my god, Paris." And then I got there and all I saw was construction, sand, having to pay to get in, and heat. I was completely like, "Oh my gosh. Really?" It's not like I wouldn't go back to Paris. I would during like the fall or
when it's a bit
winter.
cooler,
When it's cooler, it's more enjoyable. We
you could
can go
actually take a
walk.
walk around. Yeah,
Yeah, it does have that old Parisy feel. It does, like what we would imagine Paris would be, especially with like the big white buildings with like beautiful sculptures like in the stone and all that stuff, like balconies where people
yeah,
hang their flowers and stuff. That's the feel that you want from Paris. And yeah, it still has that feel when you like look around at like the neighborhoods or apartments and stuff that you can kind of see when you're driving towards the Eiffel Tower. But once you get to the Eiffel Tower, it's not that vibe. It's a
Should we also
totally
mention
different
that
thing.
on the drive back to the hotel, you almost missed the Arc de Triomphe because you were
I did.
staring
I
for.
almost missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I would have been super sad if I would
Pretty
have missed it.
major landmark.
But it wasn't that I was like just looking down at my phone. I was trying to like film stuff around so that like I'm a picture taker. I'm a,
No, I understand that bit, but you were not trying to take videos at
not at
that
that
moment
like
in
not at
time.
that second no.
You were too preoccupied with uploading the photos from the Eiffel Tower to Snapchat.
Hey, I was checking in Paris. Like this is some people's dream.
You could have done that while we were sat on the grass, though. That's what I mean. Like,
Like you should see my mom's craft room. Her craft room is themed Paris.
I know, but we drove past so many like historical
But
buildings.
I still got the video. I still got the video and I
Because I
still
told you in
saw it
time when I
with the
realised you
massive
weren't
flag.
looking up.
But anyway, yeah, so air conditioner is a big thing. That's a luxury I will not
That
ever
was
let go.
a massive tangent.
Yeah. But still, air conditioner.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a thing. So if that thing ever goes out, like we're gonna have to buy a new
yeah.
one. Next, what's the next
It
subject?
was food and drink.
Oh my gosh, food. Okay. So do we want to start with the pros or do we want to start with cons?
All the cons are related, and it's the sugar tax, and we have stricter rules about chemicals that can go
Yeah.
into things that are consumed.
Hmm.
So almost every complaint that you could have, like Coca-Cola isn't as good, Dr. Pepper isn't as good, all of them, and then like certain foods and things, it all tends to boil down to needs to hit a certain content.
Yeah.
Because then if they put that product on the shelf and one portion size of it is a certain percentage of your daily sugar, fat, so on, they have to pay more money.
Yeah. I will agree with that. Like the chocolate. The chocolate is chocolate's good.
I'm sorry, but I've tried Hershey's and it is just not that nice.
I like
It's
Hershey's.
okay, but to us, there's brands of chocolate, and then there's what you would just categorize under cheap chocolate.
Mhm.
And that chocolate could be like, it could be a very cheap own brand of a
Mhm.
certain store, but some of those are getting really good too. And then it's just unnamed things. So like, you get like little chocolate coins. They don't have a brand.
Yeah.
I think Cadbury's has just brought back chocolate coins, but there are so many companies that make cheap little chocolate coins.
We have
To
chocolate coins,
me,
yeah.
Hershey's tastes like that kind of chocolate. It doesn't taste like any known big budget brand in the UK.
But have you only had Hershey's from here?
It was brought over.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't our stocked, shelved version of Hershey's, whatever that is. I haven't tried any of those actually. It was sent over from the US.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the same in that you guys now have Cadbury's, but Hershey's bought the entire Cadbury's brand just so that they could sell some more of their chocolate in America.
I like the chocolate, but I do like American candy better. I do.
That
And
comes under a chemical and sugar thing, though.
yeah, but it is what it
Yeah.
is. Like there's a reason I got fat.
The American, and again, we're touching on something else, but sweets. Sorry
Mhm.
to say, sweets, not candy. Um, the American sweets I've had do taste better usually.
Yeah.
The only exception I will say, and it's something I've said to you several times, is that your purple sweets tend to be grape, and I like grape. Don't get me wrong, but it's not real grape. It's some weird chemical that's made to
Yeah,
taste
and you
like it's
guys
grape,
have black currant.
which is amazing.
I don't like black currant.
I think it's just because you didn't grow up with it. Blackcurrant is lovely.
There are some things that are black currant flavored that I will eat, but like those fish things that you got, but I don't like it.
That's quite a strong blackcurrant
Yeah.
taste. Um, I think it'd be like the kind of juices that we have that you dilute with water. I think you'd probably like blackcurrant of that if it was diluted quite
That's
weakly.
another thing that's different is the juice. The juice here comes in a bottle that's concentrated. So you have to dilute it. You can't just well like yeah,
Some does, but
most of
you're
it.
gonna give the impression that like apple juice and orange
Well, I
juice,
know that those like there are exceptions
and
because
again,
I've had
we
the apple
we
juice.
get like Sunny D, and we do
Oh no,
get
that is not
no.
Sunny D.
It used to be when I was a kid. Believe me. Again, that's another sugar tax and chemical thing. But like, we have plenty of brands of juices of strictly fruit juice or some kind of mix of fruit juices or fruit juice put in with other things that you can just buy and drink. I
Mm,
think the entire reason that we have concentrated juices that can be diluted with water, it goes back a very long time, and it is likely related to like poor household income.
yeah.
Because instead of buying, yeah, it's not pure orange juice, but instead of buying 10 cartons of orange juice, you could buy a concentrated bottle of orange flavored liquid effectively and dilute that into like 10 times its amount.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's a,
because we got plenty of bottles.
considering again that that's
The
one thing we
diluted.
didn't talk about that we should touch on very briefly and related to this, our tap water. Now, obviously, I haven't tried American tap water, but
It's
even
all
like
different.
French and Spanish tap water
Hmm.
sucks compared to ours. And even then, we're not top of the totem pole, believe me. Um, Anyone from Scotland would tell you that their tap water is miles superior to ours. But I think compared to America, at least from what I've heard, you know, maybe not the bathroom, because that does tend to be different plumbing, strangely. But if you walk into the kitchen, you can turn the tap on, fill a glass with water, and drink it. You don't have to be concerned that something's leached into the pipes, that something's gone stagnant in there, or something like that.
We do get
It
a
is
lot of boil
always
water notices.
fresh water.
Yeah, we do get a lot of boil water like notices. And depending on where you go, where your water supply comes from, it has a different taste every time.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I were to go somewhere that has Waco water,
Yeah.
what we call Waco water. Um, it is nasty. It's bad. It has some
So is it
weird taste.
when you say Waco water, are you saying that as like a derogatory term,
No,
or is it like
this was another
anywhere
thing
that
that we were
has
going to talk
water that
about is like the
comes from
utilities
Waco?
kind of thing, like
Yeah.
difference. So Waco water is from Waco's water supply.
Oh yeah, because it's actually run by the cities and
Yeah, by the
stuff.
city, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, that water has some weird tastes, and I won't drink it out the tap, straight up.
Yeah.
No, like that thing's got to be boiled or filtered or something. It just tastes weird. My parents' water, um, it tastes a little bit better, but we get a lot of boil water notices for like drinking water, so
Yeah.
that's just really weird. But yeah,
You
the
do
tap water is
very
different.
commonly see like Americans buying like entire pallets of like bottled water.
My mom does.
And yeah, you can buy bottled water here, but that's almost considered a luxury because, again, you can't just go to the tap.
Tap, yeah.
But obviously, 1% chance something might go wrong. In my childhood home, because it was a very old home, there was one point where they were doing um, like utility works, and for a little bit, when you turn the tap on, it was kind of like brown because they cracked a pipe and something had leached into it. But it's not something that like had happened by itself. It's that they were digging up part of the road, because something you may have noticed is that we fucking dig up roads all the time. I don't know why.
It just
There's
pops up out
road
of nowhere.
exactly roadworks. You can be going down a road one day, it's totally fine. You go back the next day, roadworks. It's like that for 2 weeks. It goes back to normal. 2 days after that, roadworks again.
Yeah,
They
just
can't make their
pops up
mind
out
up.
of nowhere. But we do the same thing too. Like, we have made fun of Texas I 35 for years. Because I 35, which is our interstate,
Yeah.
was under construction for like 13 or 14 years. And right when we were like, okay, maybe it's going to die down, no. They come back with another plan for like a 5 year plan that says, now we're going to extend it to a 4 lane because of the population, like in Waco now, has boomed, and people were taking an hour and a half to get home from work for what should have been like a 15-minute drive.
Thing is, though, while that's annoying and stupid, they at least were actually having an outcome that
Hmm.
changed the function of the road. Here, roadworks, you could be on it the day before and the road is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
99% of our
Oh
roads
no, we
are
do
in
it too.
immaculate condition.
We do it. We do it too. We had a road called Washington. I think it's Washington Avenue. My mom used to take it to go to work, and it's a very just simple road. It's a historic road in Waco, but it's a very like simple road. Neighborhood shops, like a few little shops here and there on the side. A library. That thing is still under construction, and it's been under construction for like 6 years now. And we're like, why is Washington Avenue, a very simple road, neighborhood road, still being worked on?
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah. So this is that juice, by the way, that we were talking about. So this
See,
is
that one
diluted.
is trying to be apple juice though,
It is
because
so
it
good though.
because it has like 30% apple juice in.
Yeah.
Whereas we also get all sorts of other crazy flavors, as you've seen.
Yeah. But yeah, so usually with like these, like what we mean by the juice of like the concentrated, we only fill it like that
Yeah,
much of with like the concentrated and the rest is
but
water.
also ours isn't just concentrated; it's quadruple concentrated.
Quadruple.
Yeah,
But other than that, the food, yeah, the food sucks. Like
I think it depends because
there are a lot of options.
a lot exactly. We have lots of stuff,
Yeah.
and like one of the things that we touched on even before you really got here is that like you guys, Indian food is like a rarity, an
Yeah.
extreme rarity.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
We
here it's everywhere.
literally Indian, Turkish, Greek,
Everywhere.
Chinese, everywhere.
Yeah, see, I if I wanted Indian food, I would have to go to like Dallas.
I
And
guess it's like an
yeah, the
upscale
first time,
restaurant as
yeah,
well.
yeah, the first, yeah, I'd have to go to a restaurant. But the first time I ever tried Indian food was in Dallas,
Yeah.
because I was like, I've never tried it before. I've heard good things about it. I really want to try it, and now I'm addicted to chicken tikka masala. I'm like completely 100% addicted,
Yeah.
and I love knowing that I can go to Tesco and I could
Just
just
get a ready meal.
just
Yeah.
get all the chicken tikka masala I want. And yeah, you can't do that. But the burgers, they taste different. They're like less meaty, um, more chewy, almost like soy.
But then mince is available to just
Yeah,
make your own.
yeah. So I'll
So,
make my own burger because like I want a big fat juicy Texas burger. I want a big burger, and if I go and order it from a restaurant, a chippy, that's
yeah.
another word, chippy, then I know
Well,
it's not gonna be
a
what I want.
chippy wouldn't be a restaurant, it's takeout.
Still, whatever. If to us, it doesn't matter if it's a restaurant or we don't say, "Oh, I'm gonna go get fast food," just as I'm gonna go to a restaurant. Whether you sit down in that restaurant or you take it out.
Oh, yeah, but again, we categorise with a lot of things. And this touched on another food debate, just very briefly, the fact that you guys call everything fries. And yeah, we,
Fries.
we have fries, but we have chips, and we have all
No man.
sorts of other
No sir.
variations. But
No sir.
I was just touching on that briefly. Just very quickly wanted to say a chippy very specifically refers to a place you walk in, take out, or call up, you get it delivered.
Yeah.
Um, we call restaurants restaurants.
Mhm.
Um, and then we do have fast food, but because they're so commercialized, we don't have single one-off like fast food joints. Here, they would be a chippy instead,
Yeah.
and it's not fast food, but it's the same thing. But then when you talk about like fast food, we don't say, oh, do you want to get some fast food? We say the name of the chain.
Yeah.
So do you want to get KFC? Do
Well,
you
we'll
want to get
say that
Burger King?
too. My mom will come to me and she'll be like, "We're gonna get McDonald's. Do you want any McDonald's? Do you want
Lucky's.
Mackey's?"
Or if you're from like Australia, I believe they say Macca's.
Macca's.
Macca's,
Weird.
yeah.
But yeah, she'll ask me, "Do you want McDonald's? Do you want KFC? You want Popeyes? Like, or do you want to go out to eat?" And then usually they want to go to a place called El Conquistador, and I'm just like, "No, I'm good.
I
I'm good."
want to say,
And people can hate on me for it if they want to, like people in my hometown, because they'll people are really attached to El Conquistador,
yeah.
and I used to be too. I used to like it. When I was a kid, I would order this thing called I think it was like the queso spaghetti,
Right.
and it was just like spaghetti noodles, and then they would put like cheese
Cheese.
sauce, what, and I used to love that.
Yeah.
And then there was one time when I went to Elcon and I was like, I can't find really anything that I want. I'm not really in the mood for a burrito. I really don't want a taco. I just want some freaking queso spaghetti. So I was like, hey, can I get that? And they're like, oh no, that's on the kids menu. You can't get it. So I'm like, well, I don't want anything else. So, but yeah,
I just want to say you dropped the name of something and then very quickly moved on before I could say Popeyes.
Popeyes.
I want to try Popeyes purely because of Little Nicky.
uh,
When he's got the bucket of fried chicken.
yeah,
And, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, the food is different.
I'm expecting a lot of the food to be much better because, again,
I have to
you
get creative.
guys, you guys can get away with putting all sorts in it, but we are also talking about the country whose food safety standards say that per like bag of flour you could have like one rat dropping and two cockroach limbs and things like that.
Yeah.
You guys had we spoke about that a
Yeah,
long
I
time
know.
ago, um, and then I never brought it up since because it kind of scarred you. But that's all on your FTA website.
Yeah, I know.
You can look up any type of food. It's not per brand. It's like I don't know. Again, like yeah, like bags of flowers, like liquid things like that, and they will have rules and regulations for if they go into that factory and inspect a random item, what is the tolerable level of what would be called like adulterants,
Yeah.
aka things that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And it includes rat hairs, rat droppings, cockroach limbs, entire like pieces of the shell.
We don't need to know all that.
Yeah.
We're not trying to scar people here, okay?
I
I'm
think if
already
I think
scarred.
if any other Americans like your friends are watching this and weren't aware of that, that's something they need to educate themselves about.
Oh. Well, it's not like it would matter at the end of the day anyway, because we still have to eat. So,
No, no, I'm not saying like avoid foods that have these things. It's just like there's a lot of things in the UK where not enough people kind of realise messed up things, so no one says anything about it, and then nothing ever changes.
yeah.
I feel like that's something people should have campaigned against a long time ago.
We only have 14 minutes, so we need to
Oh.
move on. Keep it pushing. We'll give like a little bit of like
Well,
word
we already
examples at the
touched
end.
on the last subject because you went on the whole thing about water.
Yeah, so just the
Uh,
water is different here. You get independent utility companies that are still somewhat funded by the government a little bit.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
service very large
Yeah.
areas.
And for us, if we need water, we have to go and get it through our city. We have to go turn it
Um,
on through the city.
so I'm gonna do this like last two remaining subjects in reverse order. So I want to touch on work really quick,
Yeah.
and that was just generally the we treat employees a lot better
Yes.
and like leave
Yes.
policies. So there are companies where, if, especially if it's like a 0 hour kind of deal, you may have to accumulate leave over time. But most positions, and not just salaried, most positions, you are entitled to a statutory amount of annual leave
Mhm.
just by working a certain number of hours a week.
And y'all have so many bank holidays. I can't even
Not
keep up.
every job gets those off
Yours does. Every time I turn around, you're like,
because of who
I'm
I
off on
work
Monday.
for. But
I'm off on Monday.
yeah, but that's because of who I work for.
Yeah. So, but every time I turn around, yeah, it's like, I'm off on Monday. Why? Oh, because it's the blue day. Like, what? But yeah, working like workers here do get treated a lot better than the United States. We only get 6 weeks of maternity leave, up to 8, but those last 2 are unpaid.
Hmm.
Yeah, here you can get a whole year, and
Yeah,
that's for both parents. That's mom and dad. It's not just mom.
I don't think it is legally enforceable yet for a man to get a full year. There are lots of companies that do offer it in the name of equality,
Hmm.
but we're not quite there on a law
But at least
basis
it's
yet.
like going in there, like it's going in that direction, and there are companies that do
Yeah,
offer it.
I think statutory we may get like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
which is probably more than some people in America get
Yeah,
standard.
most of the
But
times dads don't even get it. It's really sometimes it's not even an option. You can call your employer and be like, "Hey, my wife's in labor. Okay, just let me know when the baby's born, but you need to be back to work
mm-hmm,
that day, or the day after." Like, you have some companies that are nice and be like, "We'll give you a week," but
yeah,
there's not really anything for paternal like leave. There is maternity, but not really anything for dads. So dads aren't really
one
protected with that.
one paternity thing we do still struggle with here though is time off to attend like scans and stuff.
Yeah.
You can book your own annual paid leave
We
for
have
that.
that. We have that problem
Um,
too.
I
We
think
women have
you're
it.
only allowed 2, 3. So in
Hmm.
the entire 9 months plus, you're only allowed 3 scan
Do you
visits
know women have
as
that
like a
same problem
statutory
too?
thing.
Women will have that. I've worked in so many places that have done that to people, where a pregnant woman will go, I need to go to a scan. Like they scheduled me for a scan next week.
Hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't have the availability, and you didn't let me know in enough time. You're on the
Yeah.
schedule. So then they have to try to reschedule their scan, and then
Hmm.
like OBGYNs are in such high demand, getting your scans is hard. Like
Yeah.
just trying to get to an appointment. So she might have a scan next week, but then they're like, well, we don't have another available appointment for 4 or 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4 or 5 weeks you don't get to go with it. You don't get to have a scan. It's very hard. And also, like, only 6 weeks to have with your newborn baby
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous to me. That is that's like a big thing about having kids for me. That's terrifying, considering like all my other issues and like
Yeah.
if I ever had children being extremely attached to them because of those issues. I could never imagine at 6 weeks having to put my baby in daycare.
Mm-hmm.
Like my brand new, fresh, still smells like a baby in a daycare. Couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
think I would fall apart. But yeah, that's unfair. And then health insurance is so expensive for even if you get it through your employer that a lot of the times employees opt out of it because they're not willing to lose $400 or $500 of their paycheck a month for health insurance. It's just yeah, benefits aren't that great. 401ks are going away, or you're getting lower rates for your 401k because
Mm-hmm.
like you can put so much in your 401k and then your employer will match it. Or sometimes you'll get lucky with an employer that'll put more in there rather than match it. But a lot of the times it's not even that anymore.
That's something you guys kind of have an advantage of against us, like with pensions.
Yeah.
Ours kind of suck. But we have less than 10 minutes and we still have one last topic, so if you wanted to, like,
What's the topic? Language?
yeah, so if you wanted
Okay,
to
yeah. So just a few words.
rapid fire,
Yeah, let's just
like,
rapid fire this. Okay,
yeah,
so elevator.
lift.
It's the lift. Yeah,
Yeah.
the first floor.
Well, that's not language, that's just common sense.
First floor.
You're on the ground,
First floor.
ground level,
First floor.
ground floor.
First floor. Basement.
Zero.
First floor.
You don't start counting at one, you start counting at zero.
No. First floor. Sidewalk.
Pavement.
Sidewalk. It's aluminum.
Aluminium. Again, that's not a language though. That's just you guys have decided to spell something differently, like color.
Yeah, we've dropped the U. Favorite. You guys don't
Yeah.
you guys spell it with a U?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I think you guys spell flavor with a U.
Oh, you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do that.
Strange.
Yeah, just no. Mom.
Hmm. Mum.
Mum with a U. Mhm. Sorry, mom makes more sense because it's mother. Oh. What do you got?
You kind of hit the most like common ones. Hmm. You literally probably used like the six most common ones that we talk about. So my brain is just gone.
It's chips are chips. Like the things that you get in the can or in the bag that's mostly full of air, that's chips.
Crisps.
No.
Yeah.
No. And the potatoes that are fried, fries.
No.
Yes.
Literally not.
Yeah.
We do have fries, but
They're
they're
all
very.
fries.
Our fries are French fries, but
Hmm.
not every type of fried potato is a French fry.
It's
That's the
fry.
problem.
It's a fry no matter what. It's a fry. But I'm gonna just do the whole like if you guys have questions or whatever, just go ahead and put them in the chat while we're still doing this like rapid fire stuff, and we'll see if there's anything up there, anything that we can like answer. If we go over a little bit, it's gonna be fine. Like we're not gonna unalive or anything. Human being, or human out of
Human
business.
being that's got out of business. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, yeah, just put it in the chat. We'll answer it. But I'm just trying to think of like anything else. You guys, pertaining to like babies, you guys call it a pushchair. We call it a stroller.
Mm.
Onesie. It's a baby grow.
We do say baby grows as well, though.
No, you guys say baby grow.
Well,
Ours
we
is a
also say
onesie.
onesie too.
I've never heard a onesie here.
Mm.
Flannels. The flannels are the rags for you guys, and for us,
Yeah,
a flannel is a
it's a
t-shirt.
shirt. Because
Yeah.
it's not the t-shirt, it's the pattern.
Well, a pattern, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pattern. Well, when we look at flannels, it's like a specific type of like shirt. It's like long sleeved. You know,
Yeah,
that
I've
red
seen a
and
flannel
black, yeah.
shirt.
Like
Yeah,
that lumberjack kind of
yeah,
look, yeah.
yeah.
That's a flannel. Um, it's the telly. It's the telly. The telly.
Not everyone says telly.
Oh my god, your mom and Dave did. Telly. The TV.
Mm. I do say TV.
Yeah. But it's like some of the other, like, just, like, lingo languages, like, brekkie, breakfast. You guys say tea?
Mm.
Tea for, like, the late night, like,
It
meal.
depends where you're from, actually.
Well, you say tea.
If you remember, yeah, I know, because of where I'm from. Like, there's a really cool. I think it was oh, it was some newspaper. I'd have to think of it again for another podcast in the future. There was that quiz where it asks you about 50
Oh,
questions,
yeah, I remember that.
what you call certain things, and
Hmm.
it can narrow down exactly in the UK where you're from. One of those questions was what you call the three meals of the day,
Hmm.
and it was like breakfast, dinner, tea, breakfast, lunch, tea, like
But you say dinner and
variations.
tea.
Yeah,
Because you will, like, when we get
because
Charlie
that's.
up for his
Mhm.
first meal, it's time for your dinner. And it's like, no, it's time for his lunch. Because he doesn't really have breakfast because we sleep until like 10:30, almost
Yeah.
11 o'clock. You know, because our schedule is weird. Which
Well,
it's
that's
good
that.
that he's
I
on that
work
schedule, but
nights. Yeah, I work nights, so.
it's not dinner. It's lunch. And then tea is dinner.
Again, I can't tell you why. It's the reason I say it is because of where I'm from. So everyone round here, unless it's the younger generation that's been Americanized by American YouTube videos and TV
Yeah.
shows, all people around here will say breakfast dinner tea.
But you guys also say trainers
Trainees,
or trainees.
actually. Yeah,
Trainees.
but that's a short
It's
slang for
just tennis shoes
trainers.
or sneakers.
But you're training them.
I don't train in my Converse. They're my sneakers.
Well, they're like a decorative shoe, really, more than anything.
Okay, they used to
But if you
be.
put on
If
like
you
a,
ask my mom, that's what she played in volleyball in
but
was her Converse.
if you put on like a pair of Reeboks or something, like you're putting them on to train, whether that's you go in the gym, whether you're running.
Tell that to my sister who has tons of Nikes and she never works
People do wear
out.
them for comfiness, but at the same time, you're not sneaking around in them, are you? And if you are, you're up to no good. So,
Oh, what's other things that we? I don't think we have any comments. So
trousers. Do you guys say trousers?
if you're like really old, you might say trousers. But even my grandfather says pants. They're pants. So, um, y'all have like this weird thing with cuppa, like cup of coffee or like cup of tea, but you don't even say like tea or coffee. It's like cuppa. Can you just give me a cuppa?
Because a lot of people aren't bothered what they get.
Yeah.
And
Hot
it's.
tea. Hot tea. That's another thing. Every tea here is hot. It's hot no matter where you go. It's
Now you can
hot.
get iced tea, but it's usually pre made in
In a
bottles.
bottle that pure leaf stuff, and that stuff's nasty.
Now we got like Lipton iced tea.
Lipton's gross too.
I just wanted to point out that cuppa, that is one of like many things that we do where we will take two words and sort of fuse them
Put it
together.
together.
So cuppa, it's not some mysterious English foreign word. It
It's
just means
cup
cup of.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we just drop syllables from things.
There's just so many more things that, like, you guys do that
It's
I
just like saying
notice.
shoulda. You shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda? Yeah.
Yeah, you guys would say that,
Yeah.
and that is should of.
Yeah.
Shoulda.
There's just so many other things that you guys do that, like, I just can't pinpoint. Like, I just think it's so funny that to me, you have this like I call it your basic your basic
You
sorry,
think
basic
that?
B where basic B
You think that?
you do. You have a basic B accent to me.
No. So
And then I hear you on the game with Robert and it's like Scouser just spewing.
no. So I don't have a very strong Scouse accent, but I have one enough that people from other regions of the UK can guess that I'm from Liverpool. Anyone listening to this that isn't you, like people from the US, they may not know what Liverpudlians sound like specifically, but they would hear me and go, oh, yeah, that's British.
Yeah.
You just think it's basic because you've now been immersed in several neighbourhoods with, as another word we use, scallies.
Yeah. I remember when we lived in
Oh,
Rydal.
do you know what I mean?
I remember when we lived in Rydal Street, and I love Michaela and Nikita. I really do. They were such a character, and I could hear Michaela from across the street
Yeah.
yelling at Nikita, who was next door to us. And yeah, that's just scouse, just straight up scouse. And then of course like your mom and Dave, like even though your mom is from across the way, and but she wasn't from Liverpool, but she's been here for so long now that she started to get it. Like it's really thick, but Dave has it. He's got it bad, and Rob has it bad too. And then
Because, again, with, like, I am from a bad area, so that's why people around there sound like that.
yeah.
Dave, however much his parents wanted to pretend they were posh, they're from a bad area.
Mhm.
All you need to say to anyone from the UK who may ever watch this are the words Norris Green, and they go,
Screen.
that's a shithole.
See, what we think of like British accents is that whole like pinky in the air, like tea with the Queen on
Tea
Sunday,
scones.
and scones, and oh, we're going to go watch the telly. That that's not real. It's not real. It's not real. Like the UK has different regions for different accents, but like
Older southern people still sound like that.
they do not sound like that.
A lot, some older southern
Not
people
really
do.
like that. It's more
Yeah, they do.
relaxed. It's not like that clenched butt cheeks, chest out,
Depends how
pinky.
rich and posh they are. There are definitely levels to it. Some
Yeah,
people are that bad, but
yeah,
yeah, there are very noticeable accent shifts just going city by city
yeah,
in the UK.
yeah. Just from like hearing you and like hearing a whole bunch of other people that are from here, yeah, you got a basic B. You have a basic B
That's
accent.
how you feel.
Until I hear you in the other room talking with Robert, and you just constantly, "What'd you say, lad?"
That's not how I talk.
That's what you
No,
say. Literally, that's
that's what I
exactly what
say. That's what I
that's what you
say.
sound like. That's what you sound like.
No,
I don't think you hear
you're
yourself.
almost doing a weird Irish
I can
accent.
hear you in there saying that. What'd you say, lad? Like you give that harsh L and A where it does almost sound Irish sometimes. Does like it has that
Mm,
twinge on it, and I don't think you hear yourself. But I will sit in the kitchen and I can hear you in there, and I will laugh
mm.
because I hear you day to day, and I'm like, he does not sound like that. He does not sound like that.
How I speak in the course of my job is not how I sound.
No,
And
I mean
this
just
right
talking to
now,
me.
yeah, because this is a middle ground. So there's how I talk when I want to present professionally.
Oh
Because
God,
people who hear
you
a
and your
Scouse
customer
accent,
service.
people who hear a Scouse accent immediately assume you're some specific class of person
No.
because of what Liverpool is like.
Your customer
So
service voice
I
makes me
have
laugh.
three levels. I have when I'm speaking to someone else who has a strong Scouse accent, because it's not just my friends. If we get a taxi driver that has a really strong Scouse accent, or if I speak to someone in the course of my work who has a really strong Scouse accent, it slips in because it's comfortable. If
Yeah.
I'm speaking to someone who's super posh, or I want to be perceived respectfully,
Mhm.
I will speak in a neutral voice. And when I speak to you, it falls in the middle. You may not hear it, but there are a lot of inflections on things that I say when I just even speak to you these days that are Scouse. It's just I'm not dialing it up to 11. And that's exactly what you do. And it's what you're doing right now because you have a southern accent, but the moment that you speak to a family member on the phone, you dial it to 11.
Well, hi.
Exactly.
When I get on the phone with Nani, I can hear it. I can hear myself do it. I swear. I'll hear myself normally here with this just like kind of like neutral, and then I'll get on the phone with like Nani, especially Nani. Like sometimes it'll be my mom too, but it's especially Nani. And she'll be like, "Well, hi, Katie." And then "Well, hi." And then it's just Texas. Like it's just big Lone
It
Star State
definitely
right across
happens
my
with you as
forehead.
well. And one of the strange things I notice about the Texas accent is that a lot of sentences end with the inflection that it's almost like a question,
Hmm.
even when it's not,
No.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's not a question.
Yeah. No, but that's sort of how you speak.
Yeah.
You sort of rise to that point where it's like, do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then it's not like you haven't actually said a
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're over. We're over by 6 minutes. So yeah. So we hope the podcast has been interesting, you guys. Like we've talked about a few different things that are like different between us. Like there's so much more that we could talk about, but then we would be here until like 5 a.m. So,
We
um,
make very brief lists,
yeah.
like 5 or 6 points, but then we kind of just ramble and see
Yep,
what
going off
stories come
on
out.
tangents. But
Yeah.
yeah, so for next week, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a poll on our Facebook page for the subject that you guys want to talk about. We'll sit down and think about exactly like the few different options that we're gonna give you. Um, and then though not next Friday, but the week after is wedding day. So we will have our wedding on the 31st, and then literally the next day is our next
Is the
is our
Friday the
podcast.
first? Yeah.
Hmm?
Is it Friday the first? Yeah.
Yeah, Friday the 1st
Ah,
will be our the because we'll get married on the 31st on Thursday, and then Friday will be our next podcast. So we might have a few surprises for that one.
yeah.
So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, so I'll put the poll up on Facebook for everybody to vote. We've had plenty of time for everybody to leave any comments or questions or anything. So, all right, well, we hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and we will see you guys next week.
See you soon, guys.
Bye.